Okay, let's see. We've got some sound going, I hope. We've got a camera going. Hello. Hope this is all working out. Are you in here, Martin? Let's see. Lovely Martin, the admin. Welcome to the 52 Miniatures live stream, by the way. The second stream. Still drinking tea. Not sure if everything's working, because I can only see one person watching, and I think that's me. Okay, that's strange. I seem to have made the stream private, which is maybe not the optimum thing. Trying to make the stream public, which would be better, because then I wouldn't just have to talk to myself the entire evening. Hello, Martin. Thank you. For some reason, I made the stream private, which was public would have been better, considering the fact that I wanted to do a public live stream and not a private one with myself, because then I could just, not have a camera and just talk to myself. But welcome to the 52 Miniatures live stream. Yeah, welcome, Andreas. I was doing, for a couple of minutes there, I was doing a one-on-one live stream, just because I'd set the stream to private. But here we are. Hello, Hudson, Maine. Welcome. I'm glad you're all starting to find me here. Hello, John. Welcome from Florida. Thank you. Hello, Martin from France. I'm doing well. I just I accidentally set the stream to private, which was maybe why it probably didn't even show up, in the waiting list and that. And then I started the live stream, and I was just pretty much talking to myself. I'm just glad to see that there's more of you now. Otherwise, it's great. It's Sunday. I've got tea, and I'm kind of fiddling with MDF. Hello, Andreas. Hello, Francois. Welcome. Hello, Blake from Boston. I'm doing good. Thank you. Hello, Dwight from Texas. Welcome. Cyborg Sloth. If you missed anything, no, you didn't miss anything. I accidentally set the stream to be a private stream. So I was streaming with myself there for a while. I just sort of tend to enjoy my own company, it seems. But I'm glad that was figured out, and I can now enjoy your company. Hudson Maine is wondering what type of tea I'm drinking. This, unfortunately, because it was the only thing that was actually still available in the vault, is PG Tips. Christopher Jones just got home from a 6-hour drive. Perfect timing. Yeah. I don't drive, actually. Strange that. Hans Musterman, welcome. Yeah, I says just finished watching Uncle Atom, as in Adam. Hello and greetings from Germany. I realized that Adam was going to stream today, so that's why I placed the stream at this point in time, so as not to do anything at the same time as he's doing. So I was watching his stream, sort of, while vacuuming the floor and not trying to cut my fingers off while cutting in MDF. David, good evening from Germany. Good evening. Martin says, salut, Arif. Yeah, you'll have to translate that for me. Marcos, greetings from Bulgaria. Greetings. Krish, hello from India. Hi. How's the hobby thriving in India? Please tell me. I'd love to hear it. And I'm having a good weekend, thank you. I've actually been having a really good weekend because I had a nice stream with my patrons, some of them on the Discord on Friday, painting up some objective markers for Stargrave, and then yesterday I got to play Stargrave for the first time, which was a lot of fun. Played with my neighbor Carl, but we were here in my bunker, in my vault, and played a game of Stargrave, which was fun. But we'll get to that. Brums, Phil Brumby, welcome and thank you. I always enjoy your commentary, and I'm glad you enjoy the videos. Welcome. Rusty Beetle, I'll get into the Stargrave maybe in a bit, and just welcome people in. Let some join in before we talk Stargrave. But I had fun, but obviously it was the first time, so there's always going to be a lot of nose pointing down into the rule book rather than playing game. Yeah. Andy, welcome. Sin Nerds Andy, the wonderful Owlcast Shields creator, co-creator, designer. Hi. Hudson Maine is wondering what MDF things I'm building. Well, it's all the Brutal Cities stuff. Like, I know you can probably see some of the stuff out there. I've been trying to build, and then I still want to make videos on building them, and so I've stopped myself from building them, and then realized I should just build them so I can play with them, and then for reasons I want to get some of these really small cubicle kind of habitat things going, because I think that would work very well in game. So I just decided to start assembling them. It's like the most simplest of buildings from Brutal Cities. Chris, howdy from Nicaragua. Hello, Chris. Let's see if did I get everyone there. We've got Stephen from Leeds as well, and Charles from Tennessee, Tristan from Australia. Hello. 1 Point Crafting says, hello from Ohio, love the international crowd. That's the wonderful thing, one of the wonderful things about the internet and technology and all of that. We can all be friends. Hello, Ben from the UK. Hello, BP from Denmark. I'm glad you're catching me live as well. There was an intention to do these, to do some kind of live thingy more regularly. I just, have had other things on my mind, so I haven't really been able to do any live streams. And now I'm still, but I kind of want to maybe talk a bit about that as well, about live streams. And I know, a lot of people stream on Twitch. I've never watched anything on Twitch. I don't really get the thing, really. I'd like to do more live streams. I just don't really know if there's, should there be themes? Should I stream what I'm working on? Should I say it like this and just talk and hopefully be entertaining? Should I stream on YouTube? Should I stream on Twitch? No idea. So maybe we can talk a bit about that later on. Good evening, Colin from Maryland. I'd like to have a bigger chat. Can I have I don't know. Eric from Gothenburg, Göteborg, hello. We've got Henrik from Sundsvall. which is that's Sweden, in Sweden. Seb from Germany, hello. Yanni from Virginia. Peja, is it Peja? From Serbia, welcome. Henrik wonders if I will stream Stargrave. I don't think, I probably not. At some point, maybe any game system I could probably consider to do some type of battle report, but it would probably be a very sort of, excuse me, that's my speakers, sort of stylized. I don't think I'm the right type of player to be able to do a stream of a game without it just in the end becoming boring, because I'd just have to look at rules all the time and get the rules wrong, and having to go to the toilet 3 times because beer might be involved. I don't know. I don't think live battle reports would be a thing for me. Also, I kind of enjoy just playing games for laughs and for fun, and maybe not that becoming a thing. Michael from Dundee, Scotland, hello, welcome. Jose, welcome. Troy from New York, welcome as well. Hello, Zambies, welcome. Great to have you. Linköping, that's Sweden as well. So I had there's Namibia. Jacques, welcome. That's cool. I was in Namibia once as a child. Went to I remember being on a boat and there was dolphins, and I remember going to one of those like deserted cities covered by sand things in Namibia. Rusty Beetle wonders if I have a favorite Discworld novel. That's a bit of a trick question because I do enjoy all of them. I'll give you 2 answers. I think if I'd have to pick one, it'll probably be Small Gods, because it's also sort of a standalone book, so you can just sort of read that one. It's not, some of them have characters that keep returning more than maybe not. I don't know. Small Gods. Apart from that, I really enjoy, the Watch series, like anything with Sam Vimes in it, I think. But then you get up to being able to read 5 or 6 books or something. So let's say Small Gods. Hello, Megan. Welcome. Henrik wants to see me go to try and play Stargrave and stream that live, and mainly spending my time drinking beer and having to go to the toilet. Well, we'll see how things end up. Seb is wondering if there will be more Stargrave content. Probably. So I guess we can start talking Stargrave. It's you're all very welcomed, and thank you for being here. So I played Stargrave for the first time yesterday, which is pretty good timing because I think I made the video on me wanting to play Stargrave pretty much a year ago. And it's usually, I think that's about my time span of getting used to the idea of doing something new, but also getting like minis together. And it actually started with, like, I have a crew. I've got a few here. I can get in to my secret crew compartment. I'll just take a few of them out. Whoops. Hello. So I assembled a crew like a year ago almost, and like they're hopefully sort of in focus. Here's just 3 of them, and they're only Zenithal primed, so there's obviously another 7, and I picked models that I thought would be just great to have in a crew, and that would be like fun to paint and all of that. And then I came, I just sort of felt like I needed to paint them well. And so I've been just pushing it, and I've never painted them, and they haven't been painted, and so I haven't played Stargrave. I have painted other miniatures for Stargrave because you can have random encounters and pirates and these kind of things, so they're done. And then the good Mr. Dave from Mini Wargaming contacted me and asked me if I could paint more miniatures for his release miniatures called the Veil Touched. I did a video recently on painting one of them, and he wanted me to do another video, and I realized I could force myself into getting a Stargrave crew together. So I asked him to send me 10 miniatures, and I could paint them up, and then I'd have a crew, because so that's what I did. So there's going to be a video on that, on all of this pretty much, hopefully next week. I would have wanted to release it, I don't know, on Friday, but it didn't happen. But here's a few of them. So there's I've been sort of June inspired, sort of June grimdark inspired. I painted 10 of them in probably about 8 hours, maybe. So I guess you could call them efficient. And they were done on Friday, because I had to get done, because what I did as well after I got the miniatures, I told my neighbor that on Saturday we're playing Stargrave, because that meant I'd have to have these finished by Saturday. And so there we were. We played Stargrave yesterday, which was kind of funny that it took me a year to spend 8 hours on 10 miniatures to be able to play Stargrave. Hello, Daniel from America. Hello, Blue Fangs. Welcome. I'm just having a look back at the chats here, so I don't miss anything important. Obviously, you're all important. Bo Jekyll wonders if we used any orc pirates. Well, the thing is, because it was the first time we played Stargrave, so we simplified. Me and my opponent had pretty much similar lists-ish, sort of this same kind of people on the table, just to make things simpler. We removed any sort of you can have powers, like special things that your captain and your first mate can do. We removed that, and we also removed the encounters, because basically we were figuring out rules more than playing the game. So we just tried to make it a bit simpler. And so I didn't really get to use the orcs. There were some ruffians used because it was in the scenario. But next time we're going to do the random encounters. So then we'll have use of my orc pirates. Yes. Hello, Leif. Welcome. Leif from the lovely Devs and Dice is here, wondering me if Mordheim is up next. You've sort of you're doing Mordheim now, right? Well, if we start talking about it now, considering my usual time getting used to stuff, we can play in about a year's time. If that's all right, you can pop over. We can play in a year, in April. SEM says great camera work for a stream and lighting too. Yeah, it's what I use. It's the same gear I use for filming the videos. I only have pretty much the one setup, so I just have to use what I got. In a way, it makes streaming a bit more complex because I have to set everything up every time. I can't just press a button and start streaming. But if I'm going to do it this way, I might as well show off. KO3RNL says, great approach to new game, slimming down the rules to a point that one can get used to it first. Yeah, I think it's a great thing with any game, especially I have another friend that plays Age of Sigmar with his kids, and they've slimmed tons of stuff down. That just makes the game. Obviously, the game will play differently, but I know, for example, they don't play with rend, which is a thing in Age of Sigmar, just to make things simpler. You know, and tons of other things, but just scaling down the size of stuff and remove as many extra rules as possible, and then you can just start to add them rather than not being able to get through your first game. Because I mean, yesterday we met up at 4 in the afternoon. I hadn't done a crew, and he'd sort of done a crew, but we sat down for probably 1.5 hours putting our crews together. Then we set up the table, and then played the game. And I'd say we were done about 9:30, 10. So that's pretty good for actually not even having a crew put together to having finished a game. I'd say probably if you play Stargrave and you know what you're doing, you probably do it in about 2 hours, maybe 2 to 3, depending on the size of things. But yeah. Okay, let's see. I need to scroll back in the chat a little bit here. Brums asks me, did you read fighting fantasy novels when I was younger? I don't think I did. I think it was a straight sort of line. I think it would have been Narnia, The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, Terry Pratchett. I think that would be probably the straight line. Snap2CB asks me what brushes I use. Currently, I use. I have a couple of favorite ones. I use a lot of different brushes. I've also got a fancy brush box. This is one of my favorite brushes at the moment. It's a Winsor & Newton Series 7, and it's not miniature. They do. Winsor & Newton does a Series 7 miniature and Series 7, and it doesn't say miniature. The miniature isn't actually. They don't mean this type of miniature. They just mean that you paint small things with it. This is not miniature, and it's a size 3, so it's pretty. If we can compare size with a miniature, it's rather girthy. But I painted with this for probably about 3 months, and the tip is still almost, to the point where I can paint eyes with it, even if it's a size 3. And because of the big size means it holds a lot of paint, which means I can just keep painting without having to dip paint. And then I very much enjoy the 2 Redgrass Games brushes. They have a really small, fine one for painting eyes and stuff. And then they have what is their size 2. And that doesn't really come to the same as similar kind of a point. But I really, really enjoy these for doing larger, sort of rougher work, if that's a strange term, but wet blending and stuff like that. So that's pretty much the 3 brushes I use. And that's about it, really, if I'd have to choose at the moment. But these things change as well. Jose says, I'm happy with the book about color and light by James Gurney that I recommended you. Yeah, it's a book that's been flying around, so to speak. Oh, I'm really not catching up with the chat right now. MVP says it's a really nice setup. Well, thank you. Troy says my your video narration style, along with your painting style, is unique as well as trans-inducing. Love the channel. Maybe that's the next thing. I'm hoping, can I get people into some kind of trance where they just inadvertently start sending me a lot of money, some kind of money scam involving trans it's next in line. Hello, CC from Canada. Welcome. The end says, great looking stream, smooth and no lag in that. Yeah, I hope it won't lag. That's up to the gods of internet. KO3RNL says, of course, that it's kernel, which now makes sense when you mention it. Luke Williams says, this may be the most aesthetic light setup I've ever seen for a live stream. Well, some people bring vocal content and make sense, or maybe even teach you things like painting and stuff. I just see to it that it looks good, and hopefully it's enough. Hudson Main is asking me, which miniatures would you recommend for a new Stargrave crew? I guess it's totally up to you. There's a few things you can think upon if you want, which is how correct do you want your miniatures to be to what they actually are? Like, do you have a sniper? Does that mean you definitely want your miniature to like sport a sniping rifle? Is your do you want to have a robot? Does the miniature actually have to look like a robot, or can you just take whatever miniature and say, well, yeah, it's a robot, but looks like a human because it's one of them human-looking robots? I guess that's step one, deciding if how important to you it is that they carry the right type of gun, or look the part. After that, it's just whatever you think would be fun to play with and paint. I mean, there's so much out there, and you can use anything. So I'd say whatever you ever wish you were painting right now is probably a good start to use as a miniature for Stargrave. Okay. Blue Fang says, I'm still so happy about the scale 75 brushes I have. Cost me a bit, but very happy now with how they're holding up. I'm glad to hear it. I've never tried their brushes, actually. If I gather things correctly, they're about to send me some stuff. Maybe they'll put some brushes in there as well. Who knows? Okay. Checking up with the chat. Dr. Dave, nice to catch you live. Nice to catch you too. Paid to Cyborg Slot says paid to win ASMR. Yeah, that's it. And I can just make sure I'm just a little bit closer to the microphone so that, yeah. Kyle says, I believe that's called a cult. I don't, in the grand scheme of things, I wouldn't mind a cult. Seems to be something humans enjoy every now and again. Arctic Charles says, I just got a Winsor Newton 7, my first expensive brush. How do I take care of it? Several things can help. One is, because obviously you should use it. You're saying you're a bit afraid to use it because you might ruin it, which is, that's more waste of money, buying something you won't use than buying something that you use for a while and then accidentally ruin it. But what I do try and make sure of when I paint with any brush, but like this, here's a brush. When I dip this brush in paint, I try to make sure of never really getting paint any further up than about that far. Because as soon as you start getting paint up into this bit here, that's when you're really starting to sort of ruin your brush. And so I usually have, if I have a palette or something like that, or a wet palette, and I want a brush to sort of mix paints and stuff, I just use any old brush just for that. And not so much this one, so that paint doesn't creep up all that much. I rinse it in water very often, like very, very often. And I usually have, I've actually got some water here prepared for, it's like a kitchen show, only it was just water. There was no creme tartar. So I usually rinse it a lot, but I also usually have a piece of paper and I do that. And if I see that there's still tons of paint coming out, then obviously you haven't really rinsed it enough. And I can do that a few times. And if you just sort of keep on doing that, just making sure you're getting the paint out of it while you're painting, they'll last a very long time. And then there's the brush soap. Usually your game store or an art store will have something called brush soap. There's different brands make brush soap, which you can use to clean your brush. You can probably check YouTube as well, because I know a lot of different people have different just hacks. Say, I just use shampoo or conditioner or whatever. I use brush soap, like, I don't know, every other miniature or every second miniature. I look at the brush and go, oh, I haven't cleaned it with soap in a while, so I just do that. And it's one of the reasons why I really enjoy natural hair brushes, is that if you take care of them, they do last a long time, and thus they don't really become expensive. Kobe says, if you need a water pot to take care of your brushes, you can always get a 52 miniatures mug from Alex's merch store, which is on Teespring. Martin is not only the most awesome of admins, he's also my advertising department, which is nice. Whoops. I'm rambling and I'm missing all of the important things going on in the chat. Artrus says, been watching since your sprue cobblestone video. Since then, the quality of your videos has exploded. Thank you. I know the quality has increased. I still think that was a very fun thing, the cobblestone. Like the content was fun. You should all save your sprue and make cobblestones out of them, and check out my cobblestone video. Dr. Dave says, I've gone down the midwinter minis route and got 5 brushes for £10. Yeah. I just find using these, like, if I take care of them, then I don't need to buy 10. I can just buy the one and have it for a very long time. So I've never. That being said, it's great to have synthetic brushes for things like oils, and sometimes even contrast paints can really just, when that stuff dries in your brush, it's difficult to get out. Usually when I use contrast style paints, oil paints, what else? Yeah, I use synthetic brushes, and usually just the very cheapest ones I can find. Kevin Rahman, creator of the miniature game Forbidden Psalm. Love your channel. Would love to send you a copy of the game to check out. Sure thing, Kevin. I think you should be able to find my email on the YouTube. You can contact me on the YouTube channel. There's a link to my email somewhere. You can contact me, and I can send you an address. Jonathan says my library video is a huge inspiration. On the actual little library, yeah. Someone walked past. Someone sent me an image, like a text message with an image yesterday or the day before, and unfortunately, there are no miniatures left in it yet. The tables are still there, but there's no one actually in the library anymore, I'm afraid. But that was sort of bound to happen, really. Daniel Real says, "Thank you for being honest about what encourages you to paint and what can stop you sometimes. It's nice to hear that even good painters can intimidate themselves into artist blocks." Oh yeah, definitely. Especially, I think, we all probably feel that there is a lot of people about that are better at things than we are. And in certain instances, that can be intimidating. Usually, one can hopefully just shrug it off. But I was actually at a little informal meeting at my local game store, Alpha Spel, yesterday as well, because I want to do some classes there or workshops. And we've been talking a little bit about, I've just been thinking, well, I could do something on wet blending or maybe oil paint. So I don't know. But then we sat there talking and realized that maybe I can try and do like a workshop on, inspiration, some kind of inspirational content, as in inspiration to how to figure out color schemes and how to keep on painting, and I don't know, that kind of stuff. So still need to put a lot of work in to what that could be. But maybe a 1 or 2 day event workshop type thing for all of you that reside in Sweden. It felt like in the end when we talked, that was the most natural thing for me to actually relate to, than having like a straightforward painting class. We'll see. The Neon Caster says, a cult where people finish and paint their minis. Now, I'd have a lot of people in my cult if that was, what happened if you joined. It would be a very popular cult, I believe. Whoa, okay, sometime the chat just jumps. Tia's Clock Tower, good morning from the West Coast. Good morning. Says, I want to say I enjoy your longer videos, especially the ones over 20 minutes. Cool, that's nice to hear. It's I believe I, in theory, do everything I shouldn't be doing if one takes YouTube into account. I should be doing more. I should be doing more simpler and shorter videos. Instead, I'm doing less, longer, complex videos. But there we are. I've actually been considering. I'm still trying to figure out if I could find a concept of doing at least a video a month that is maybe a little bit simpler to make. But that's a completely different topic. Okay. On the topic of water, I have 2 cups, one with soap and the other with clean and paper towel. Yeah, now that you mention it, I actually have in my painting water, which I'm not sure how great that is. I don't know where I picked it up. I have a minuscule amount of washing up liquid in my painting water, like minuscule, not even a half a drop. It's less than that. Just to get a little bit less sort of surface tension, so that helps the paint. I don't know if that's just psychological or if it works. It just sort of kind of happens. Washing up liquid will obviously sort of dry out your brushes a little bit, but that's what you got brush soap for, I guess. I don't know. That's just something I do. Hello, Jack. Welcome, Jack Wells. Glad to see you. See, here's this is exciting. So, on your question regarding the hobby in India, it's pretty much non-existent. I sort of that's kind of why I asked. I had it, you know. There's no real community or even products available. So every mini I've painted has been sculpted by me. That's pretty rad, though. So um, good work. I've been to India, and you know, that sounds to me wrong. I have been to India, but I've only been to Mumbai, so I haven't been to the rest of India. I've just been to the very little area around Mumbai, and it doesn't really. Games Workshop store doesn't really fit into the image, of of that. But can you not? Is it terribly expensive to order things and get them delivered? Yeah, I really admire the fact that instead you just sculpt your own miniatures, which is terribly cool. But I'm just curious: is it expensive to just order the stuff? Hey, Mark. Mark from Montana. Hello from the coffee shop in Newport, Oregon. We'll be on the road soon, but wanted to say hi. Mark is a patron who always seems to be driving a car every time I have a live show. I don't know what that means really. I don't really think it means anything apart from that Mark drives a lot of cars. Krish says also, your videos have definitely been part of my motivator to keep going with this hobby despite the challenges. I'm great to hear. Thank you. Subversion Arts asks, have you considered traveling to any of the various hobby conventions around the world? Last weekend was Adepticon, and I think you would have had a good time. I'm sure I would have had a good time, and I would love to. But someone would have to, plane ticket from Sweden over to there and back would probably cost what I make in about 6 months from YouTube, maybe just for the one, and that would just be the flight ticket. And then there's it'd be a pretty expensive thing, and I'd love to do it, but if they would invite me and pay for my flights, sure thing. Or if I won the lottery, but yeah, if there was something, maybe close. We don't really have any big ones like that in Sweden. There's some conventions, but they're sort of, they're going to be very mixed with computer games and stuff like that as well, not just miniature related stuff. You'd have to sort of maybe venture over into Germany or over to the UK to do that. And that's a lot more probable. I'd like to do some kind of tour in some way, at least to the UK, just also to meet up maybe some other creators and some patrons and that. But we'll see. It's just at least now we can sort of think these thoughts. Hopefully, with the pandemic, it's just been non-existent, the ability to travel. Until now, things are opening up. So we'll see. Unfortunately, my passport has expired, and the current waiting list in Sweden to get a new passport is about 4 months, just because everyone has realized after 2 years of pandemic that their passports have expired. So no one really has a valid passport. So everyone wants new passports at the same time, which is very inconvenient. Michael says just popped in to say hi. Hello, Michael. I'm glad you popped in to say hi. I'm still trying to figure out okay, where are we? There's a chat, and I'm not. Baptiste asks, have you ever been into the Mutant Chronicles Warzone universe? Yes and no. Let's see. Is this what you mean? As a kid, I played Doom Trooper, which is a card game based on Warzone. It was available at least here in Sweden. I don't know where else. And I've still got all those cards somewhere. And I also have a few Warzone miniatures. I want to make some kind of nostalgic video at some point. I never played the game as a kid apart from the card game. I've also got, sorry, I'm going to have to walk around the table here just because, you know, here we are. A few old books as well. I hope that answers your question. Where are we? Back to the chat. Martin says AlexCon. You heard it here first. Yeah, that's it. I thought I saw Bill here somewhere. Hello, Bill. Bill making stuff. Congratulations on the 50,000 subscribers. I was very glad to see that. Can you send some of them over, please? Yeah, Baptiste asks about the Warzone. It was originally, I believe, created by the concept and idea was Swedish, Mutant Chronicles, and then I don't know at what point it was sold on to someone and this and that, and then eventually perished. But it was huge. I mean, there was a lot of miniatures and that for a while. Daniel says, I would totally attend a 2-day workshop with you on inspiration. Would be a great reason to vacation in Sweden. I'll pass that on to Alpha Spel because I was also a little bit concerned. This is going to sound a little bit spoiled, but we were talking and it was like 2 days and I was like, you know, what do we charge them and how much do I get? Because, you know, it'll be Alpha Spel who organizes it. And I just hope it's enough to be worth like not hanging out with my son for a weekend. That kind of, you know, that's still what it's about. But if people would turn up from overseas to do it, then I reckon we can bump the rates up just a little bit. Smooth Brush asks me, what am I painting now? Well, I can show you what I painted on Friday because that was fun. It was actually kind of fun as well because these were painted in one evening. I did these for Stargrave. These are resin prints from. Hold on, I can do that. You can see me. These are resin prints from Anvil Industries. Anvil Industries does great resin miniatures, but they also have a STL. I think they call it their Vault, which is fitting. And they have tons of miniatures, but they also have some sort of this kind of stuff, scatter terrain or whatever. So these are my loot tokens. This is the actual loot, and this is the data loot, which in Stargrave you have essentially you have two, you know, I think 1 to 4 crews or whatever, and you're supposed to run in with your little folks, not get shot. Open the box, get the loot, and run back out. Or run in, hack the computer, get the data information, and then run away. That's sort of the point of Stargrave. My problem was that I was doing this, and then sort of this happened. My entire crew was wiped out. Yeah, so that was the thing. But anyway, I painted these on Friday with my patrons on so it was a very sort of fast paint job, but it was fun. And before that, I painted these, the Veil Touched, which will be in a video for next week, hopefully. I think I've got the thumbnail here. If you want to see what they actually look like when we're a bit more fancy. So they're sort of June inspired miniatures. I use them for Stargrave, but they can obviously be used for any game, and they are from Dave from Mini Wargaming, from his Veiled Touched Kickstarter thing. But it's not a Kickstarter, it's a Game Found. Is that what it's called? Yeah. I painted them, and then I'm also painting a dragon, which is turning out nice. Here's a little dragon. He's so cute. Still working on that, pretty much. And yeah, dragon. There's two of these. That's what I'm painting. I'm also going to be getting a bunch of Rivenstone top secret miniatures next week, I think. And so I'm looking forward to painting them. Jazz says hello from Australia. Well, hello. What's the time in Australia? 12 at night, at least? Middle of the night? Bill Making Stuff says, so 6 p.m. Swedish time is 5 p.m. Greenwich time. I believe you're onto something there, Bill. Yes. Calby asked me, have you ever been to a convention? Just got tickets to Nova. This is a pretty solitary hobby, so being around people in the same stuff seems really exciting, and I'm hoping invigorating. I've never been to a convention, mainly because we don't really have many of them over here. I don't know if Leif from Devs and Dice is still around, but maybe we should go to one. Leif, somewhere. Is there any in Sweden? I don't even know. Smaller ones, I guess, not the huge ones like the Adepticon and the Nova and that. I guess I'd like to go. I think I'm a little bit the type of, because I've been to other type of conventions and they fry my brain, honestly. Just the sheer amount of people and the noise and the sights and that. I'm not a person that thrives in a sort of convention type atmosphere. But maybe that would be different if one has a real interest in what's going on. That, who knows? It'd be fun to try out, at least. Tommy says hello from the northern parts of Sweden. Hello, Tommy. Welcome. Kia says your video about painting for a tabletop standard is probably one of the best hobby videos on YouTube. Well, that's a pretty rad compliment. Thank you. I've always had those thoughts a little bit, especially since they conflict with my own way of painting in a way. Not always, but sometimes. I like to paint details. I like to paint dark things. I like to paint with muted colors. And it's just been fun to experiment with, in a way, the opposite, and see if I can merge them as well. For things that really are intended to be on the tabletop, like these objective markers as well. It's like, I want them to be visible, so I painted them bright orange, which works, but I can still stain them and I can still make them look rough and all of that. Yeah, but thank you. Dr. Dave says there's plenty of people doing standard videos. Yours stand out for me, both for your honesty and your style. Keep doing your videos. Yeah, I'd still want to keep doing my videos. It's just, it would be, sometimes I have, simpler, just me wanting to paint a little, just paint, or small things, like found these really neat little stencils to use on these. It's turned out great. I don't know, just these sort of small things that necessarily doesn't have to be a uh, deep thought through concept. And it'd be nice to be able to get that in somehow as well. And just just painting a mini without maybe analyzing all too much about concept and style, and that it could be a bit relaxing for me. Bill says not enough conventions here. Salute was cancelled this year. Yeah, I remember, because you were going to Salute, weren't you, or were you not? I remember you talking about it, Bill. That's Bill making stuff. Is it on? So it's cancelled this year. Okay, so is it on next year, or is it like permanently cancelled? Unsupervised learning is asking if I have plans for mixing more cinematic type of storytelling and painting again, like I did in the Monster Hunter video. I'd like to do it again. It's a time thing, I guess. I have tons of fun doing that kind of stuff, but it's like, I guess in the end, it prolongs the creation of a video with about a month, and unfortunately, the platform itself premieres releasing videos on a more regular basis in a way, but and unfortunately, that Monster Hunter video was not really, it's one of the videos that not very many people watched. Which in the end I don't really care all that much about, but somewhere there's still a little bit of a nag going somewhere in the brain that, okay, so you spend a decent amount of hours doing a video that then doesn't work. I will be doing it though. I want to talk to Oscar, who is the Monster Hunter. He usually does quite a lot of things for summer, like maybe where he actually is already doing something in he does quite a lot of stuff in more medieval settings. I want to talk to him and see if we can, if he's already going to go do something somewhere, like build up some medieval village or whatever, maybe we could film something. But I'm not sure, because he owns a massive ship as well, for reasons. So at the moment he's out sailing on a pirate ship. That'd be a video. Okay, scrolling back in the chat. Regarding India, Krisha says that it's very, very expensive to import or order stuff into India. So that's a shame. But good on you to be scratch building and modeling your own miniatures. Good luck with all of that. Martin, my dear Martin, says a good way of helping Alex to get to a convention would be to join his Patreon, which is very true, Martin. I'm glad you mentioned that. You're great. Thank you. Back to India. I'm just finding this very fascinating, of how people are doing the hobby, and all around the world. Chris says, to give some perspective on India's pop culture influence, Mumbai just opened India's first comic book store last week. So I guess Warhammer Miniatures might be a bit into the future. Hans said, good day, fine sir. Any plans on taking part in a painting competition? Not really. I was inadvertently in a painting competition recently. I came third, I think. It was that monster diorama. Like, for some reason, someone sent me, I think it was my neighbor, said, the guy, the company who actually did the big bat on the diorama, it's over there. I'm not going to take it out. And they had a painting competition, and my neighbor said, they've got a painting competition. You should just put your diorama in it. And I told him that, it's not really. It's better that other people win than me. I'm not really very competitive in that sense. But I wrote to them and just said, my neighbor said you had a competition, which is, I'm not really interested in that. But if you haven't seen it, I made this video. There's a monster hunter in the beginning, and then I make a diorama, and your miniature is in it. Maybe you think it would be fun to watch. And they said, oh, cool, we'll enter you into the competition. And I was like, you don't need to enter me into the competition. And then it will enter you into the competition. And so they did, and I came third or something. That was my only competition so far. Tim Gallion says, I did playtesting for Doom Trooper card game. That's cool. I was told it was the rules for the card game was based on a James Bond card game. Is that true? Do you know? Baptiste says, a video on Warzone. Yeah, I hope so at some point. I'm nostalgic about it. I like the miniatures. Definitely at some point. Verpine says, sorry I'm late to the stream. What did you think of Stargrave? I recently bought the rulebook, but haven't had a chance to play. Bill asks, did I miss the Stargrave chat? No, let's talk some more about Stargrave then. So I played Stargrave. I can press a button here, and you can probably see some of what the table sort of looks like, I think. That was sort of the table. It's unpainted, unfinished MDF terrain, my spaceship, 2 crews, and yeah. So there was the thing was we had fun, but we also read a lot of rules. The rules are, in theory, simple, but they're new to me, obviously. So even if they are in theory simple, it's difficult to grasp because it's a new thing to grasp. We did simplify things. By the way, for those that don't know, there's also the add-ons called Quarantine 37 and the Last Prospector. Prospector, yeah. We simplified things, like we didn't use random encounters, and we didn't use like the special powers. Your captain and your first mate will have special powers. We just sort of scrubbed that. But this resulted in the fact that the game probably didn't play the way it should, in a way. So using random encounters means that you roll dice, and all of a sudden there's like pirates or monsters or whatever just randomly occurring on the table. And so there's a bigger chance that you're just trying to go grab your loot and get out. You're not just trying to kill your opponent, which is what happened yesterday, because there was no random encounters. And because we placed a ridiculously big building, it said place a small building in the middle of the table. And, this is what we placed in the middle of the table, which was rather dumb because one loot ended up on the roof up here, another one up here, another one over on this side. And so they were virtually impossible to get at, those 3 loot tokens. So, but all my entire crew got wiped. Yeah, and I don't think that would have happened if we would have actually used the random encounters and maybe the other rules, because the game would have played a little differently. It's also very it's very swingy in a way, because you're using a D20, and I rolled a lot of 4s and 5s, and my neighbor Carl that I played with rolled a lot of 17s and 18s. So we'd end up in situations where nothing happened for me, and he just killed me. which is, kind of charming, in a way, I guess. It was also very apparent that it's sort of it's really important to have lots of cover, tons of debris, and like scattered terrain and houses and all of that kind of stuff, to actually be able to sort of get to the loot and get it and get out without just being shot, which is fun as well, coming from a war game where essentially you're just, you know terrain is not that, in Age of Sigmar you can obviously use terrain in different ways, but it's not like every single one of your little toy soldiers can hide behind some kind of scattered terrain somewhere. But I think in Stargrave that's very much a thing, and is also kind of fun, because that means you can use all your folk. So it was different, but it was fun. It was also like the captain and the first mate are obviously more powerful, but it's not like superhumans. I'm used to in Age of Sigmar where if your general is sort of on a standoff with just some regular trooper soldier, you don't really have to worry. Here, because it's kind of swingy, then your regular sort of soldier can roll a 20 and shoot the head off of your captain, and your captain's not going to recover, which is also kind of fun, which is why you should hide your captain behind a box. So it was different, but it was fun, and I look forward to playing it again with the new knowledge of maybe not just charging my foe, but maybe hiding more behind boxes and just trying to get the loot and get out. Okay, trying to get back to the chat here. I seem to have missed quite a bit. Old Raz says, love the stream's aesthetic. Thank you. Bill is also stealing my idea and is doing his workshops, and talking about it in my chat. Stealing, I'm kidding, Bill. Bring your own trash. Or you could just, have them at the dollar store, because I've seen your videos and most, you seem to be, or is that the pound shop? Maybe you're in the pound shop. You could have them there. Would be a fun concept. Blue Fangs, who is a patron of mine, says that she saw that Friday's stream turned into more than maybe 2 hours or so. Yes, that's because I was still very proud of getting these like from scratch painted in, and I can say I did them on Friday. But the fact that it was 5 hours of stream, it's a secret. Bill says he enjoyed Stargrave, only played once. Yeah, I think it can probably only get better. I think my overall takeaway from playing Stargrave is to try and make it like simple and fast. Have lots of terrain, have lots of obstacles, just have lots of random encounters stuff, just lots of things going on. So you just have to try and get in and get your loot and get out, and hopefully do that in about 2 hours. I think that would be a sort of optimal setting in my mind. Have I been bouncing over your questions, Mark? That's not that's not intentional. There's just so many things in the chat. Please, if you're still around and not back in your car, please ask again. I'm trying to keep my eye on everything going on, but there's a lot of stuff in the chat. Dev says, Dev's nice. Leif says, not a single convention for me either. We'll have to look into that, Leif. if there's anything like in the neighborhood, Denmark or Germany or something, we can go. It'd be fun. Seb says is a bit jealous that I already play with the veil touched. Yeah, I really like them. I also like them because of the concept of what they are, which is another line of miniatures, which gives people more options. I think that I like the design. I think they also are very good. Like, I don't know if it's intentional, but I can see that for a beginner, they're pretty easy to paint, even though they're very detailed. They take things like contrast paints and dry brushing and stuff like that very well. And so I think it's kind of why I like them. It's because I think they're a great option for also people that are new to the hobby. And that there's just more of it around, and it's physical, and you don't need to have a 3D printer or whatever, and you can still get your hands on something, but the larger brands. My Minicraft says, hi from Portugal. No conventions here either. Yeah. Yeah. I have to do some kind of global Alex Con then. Jonathan says, got to run. Love your videos. Have a good one, Jonathan. See you, Brums. Scrolling down in the chat. Yeah, I mean, I guess a lot of conventions would have been cancelled lately, but yeah, hopefully they can get back going. Eugene asks me, Alex, have you experimented with heavy body acrylics? Sometimes I can see the texture and brush strokes. Other times it's so thin it doesn't cover. Yeah, I've been using these a little bit. I guess we could call these heavy body acrylic, right? This is this Scale Color Artist range. I actually put this here because I have a question for you people out there. If you have, the thing with these is that what you shouldn't do is not clean like the cap thing. If you get paint there, you should clean it, because if you don't, you end up in a situation like you can't, it doesn't open, and the only thing that happens when you try is that the whole tube just starts to turn into like a screw. And so I'm wondering if anyone has any, what should I do? And like, dip it in cold water, dip it in warm water? Should I open it up, on the other side and just put, yeah. Anyone have any tips on that? But regarding the question, if with coverage, I agree. I got a few of these and I sort of tried to use them, and then I didn't use them because I was like, this is not covering nothing, kind of a thing. And so I stopped using them. And then only recently, actually now, when I painted these veil touched, I used the white and some really bright ones. And they were just absolutely fantastic for highlighting stuff. Like, you've already got all your layers going and it's already smooth and nice, and you just want to sort of get some extra highlights. And they were just so smooth that I was a bit astounded, and just worked great on the brush, and I had tons of fun using them. So I need to try and get back to putting more of these into my palette every now and again, and just keep on using them to see when they work. That's the strange thing I find with paint, is that, well, it's not really strange, but all different types of paints and brands and everything, they sort of, they're good at doing different things, I guess. And or better at, so some lines of paint would be really good for one thing, and others may be good at something else. You can obviously use them for everything, but if you're starting to get picky, I can see why people have a lot of paint like me, because you can use them for different sort of purposes. One is good for dry brushing, one is good for making glazes out of. One is, and so on and so forth. That was not really an answer to your question, Eugene, but at least I talked a lot. Okay, back to the chat. Bill Making Stuff says, I'm currently finishing off a Mad Max themed collab. So much work, lots of VFX and coordination. Hopefully worth it. Yeah, I hope so too. I saw the picture. I thought, it was worth the picture. I reckon. I think it's fun to just get to do these things as well. I've been doing some for my next video as well. I'm going to be having a conversation with the hologram, for example, which is fun. It's as long as I think in certain instances that we do it. I'm talking to Bill here, folks. I'm sorry, but as a creator, if we do it for ourselves, then it's in a way worth it, regardless of view count. And then one doesn't have to do it every time, but as long as it's fun while we do it, then what's the harm in it? See you, Blake, who's about to start the D&D game. I'm glad you were with us for a while. Everyone's talking to Bill. So Chris says, where I live in Managua, there's a single nerd store. It caters to Magic and Pokemon. I've asked about being an advocate for minis, but it's just too expensive here. Second poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. Yeah. Was that Nicaragua? You said Nicaragua, right, Chris? I was talking a bit to I think it was the last stream. There was a guy from Brazil, which sort of had a bit similar things. Also, that it was very, very expensive, almost non-existent to get paint and miniatures and stuff like that into the country. So I hope they do let you become an advocate somehow. It would be a great thing. Seb says, for our friends from India, import a 3D printer and buy printing files online. That's a pretty good idea, depending on income, I guess. Yeah. Even though I think sculpting your own stuff is pretty cool too. Max says, anyone played any Silver Bayonet yet? No, but I want to do that too. But I guess, okay, so Stargrave has been initiated. There will be more Stargrave, and have plenty of Stormcast to paint. And but Silver Bayonet would be fun. Also gameplay wise, using, a little bit of a different system. I've been told it's sort of like a mixed between some of Joseph McCullough's other games that I can't remember the name of because my brain is already filled with so much other important information. But yeah, I'd like to play Silver Bayonet as well. Okay, so I accidentally scrolled down a little bit and I saw Jeremy asking, is Swedish banana curry pizza a real thing? Which is a very important question, and I can tell you that yes. Ham, banana, and curry pizza is a real thing. There's also the pineapple and the ham, which is maybe not as freaked out. Maybe you get pineapple pizza as well, right, Jeremy? It's Black Magic Craft, Jeremy. But yes, come to Sweden and have a banana curry pizza. Now I'm scrolling back. Okay. Baptista's got to feed all the 3 monsters. I'm guessing that's your children. Good night to you too. Verpine asks, knowing you play mostly Age of Sigmar, how do you like skirmish games like Stargrave compared to the epic battles of full army games like Age of Sigmar? Well, I was still a little bit surprised over the time span. Obviously, playing a 2,000 point game of Age of Sigmar, that takes a while, especially for me, because I'm seriously a very slow gamer, and there's other fun things to talk about, and there's coffee to drink, and I'm pretty bad at maths, and considering there's a lot of dice and like +2, -5, plus, my brain fries eventually, and things go slower and slower and slower. And so, a game of Age of Sigmar can easily be like 5 or 6 hours. But like with Stargrave, I mean, sure, it's skirmish, but it's still 10 miniatures, and you roll dice and stuff for every miniature. So it's in a way like having 10 squads in an army game. You see what I mean? Like my army in Age of Sigmar, I don't even think I've got 10 different squads. There's obviously a difference. The rule set is simpler and it is faster, but it would still, I'd say, even if I learn the rules, I'd probably guess that a round of Stargrave for me would be like 3 hours, sort of less than half or half the time of a game of Age of Sigmar. So it's still not, I mean, it's not fast. It's not like you just do it in an hour. It's still sitting down and your entire evening will be playing the game, which I don't mind. But I didn't find Stargrave massively fast, Snap2CB says, I remember when I started out a year and a half ago, some of my miniatures would lose limbs to bad gluing, so I just used clay to stick the limbs to orcs and painted over exposed areas in Mephiston red. Okay. Using clay for glue. If it works, it works. Super Gardenator, do you have any advice regarding painting motivation? On the top of my head, it's difficult because it kind of, it's nice to get a little bit of a hint on what seems to be the difficulty. Usually it's about time, trying to find the time to fit it in, and then because you're really trying to find the time to fit it in, it's sort of, there's a pressure kind of builds up, and maybe you just in the end don't really feel like you want to do it because you get stressed about doing it because you're stressed about not having time to do it. I find when I am in sort of in a situation where I don't have motivation, the best way to get that or what usually works to get that motivation back is to force myself to paint, which sounds a bit harsh because it isn't, but it's like either I plan it, I say like, okay, on Thursday evening, I'm going to sit down for 30 minutes and I'm going to paint something. I don't care, it doesn't matter. It's just, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to paint. And nothing else is going to come in the way, or if you just, it's a regular evening, you've done all the things you're supposed to do and you're like, should I, I'd like to paint, but I don't really feel like it. I'm just going to watch, watch some Netflix. No, instead you just sit down and paint, even if you don't feel like it. And then when you've done that about 3 or 4 times, all of a sudden you kind of feel like painting because you sit down and you start and you're like, oh, I really, I don't really feel like this. And then you're like, ooh, that's a nice color. And I like that. That boot is now, yeah. And you sort of eventually, I find, at least for me, I get into it by forcing myself to do it. But if you force yourself into doing it every single time and you're still not enjoying yourself several months later, then maybe there's some other issue. But yeah, that's one of the things I can think of is even if it's just painting the one little, I'm just gonna paint this base. It doesn't have to be advanced. It doesn't. Sometimes we have things that block us, like I should be painting this cloak. I just don't know what color, or I just don't know how to do it well. Well, just don't paint the cloak then. Paint a completely different thing, and paint some terrain. Just get into the just mood. Rhino says, just saying hello, all the best. Well, hello, Rhino. Chris, if you could schedule AlexCon the same week that At the Gates are playing in Sweden, you'll have to let me know what At the Gates is. Is that a band? I'm sure it's a band, right? Patrick Stars checking in from Atlanta. Been loving the channel since the start. Well, thank you, Patrick. I appreciate it. Okay, here we go. Callisto91. Best tip for removing lids from bottles, jars, etc. is to wear rubber gloves. You will get a grip. Yeah, the thing is, no worries about the grip. The thing is that if I just really do this now, I'm gonna this metal tube thing is just gonna spin. Nothing happens. It's stuck, and I'm not losing my grip. Dead Dancer, hello, welcome. Jose Da Vinci and your Veil Touched are the two best looking Veil Touched models on YouTube. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's very kind. These ones are a little bit simpler, but I think I managed to do all 10 of them in about 8 hours maybe, which is very unlike me. So I'm just pleased with that. I'm trying to practice all the things I'm terrible at, I think, and painting efficiently and then stepping away is something I'm very terrible at. So I'm trying to get better, just because I want to learn that bit as well, in a way. I'm not going to say I like speed painting. I'm going to say I'm trying to just learn some shortcuts. Hans says, maybe put the top into isopropanol alcohol. Maybe I could try that. It's worth a shot. I mean, I can't get it open, so it's not like it doesn't matter if I ruin the paint, because I still can't use the paint right now. Okay, Daniel says, stuck paint cap, soak in hot water and solvent, and then use a cap wrench. Golden makes a good one. Of course, someone makes a cap wrench. Okay, yeah. Max says you could use an ultrasonic bath if you had one. My dad has one for cleaning. My dad renovates. I was going to say my dad renovates motorcycles, which sounds like it's his sort of work. It isn't. He's had the same motorcycle for like 20 years and he's still renovating it. But it's another story as well. F-Cat says, I have artist grade heavy body acrylics that can cover a lot depending on pigment. I also have these scale ones and they are very situational. See, that's what I've found. Well, I guess what you mean with very situational is that it totally depends on from paint to paint, i.e. from pigment to pigment. And I think, I found the same thing as well. I have really been appreciating the whites and there's a pale set. It's like lots of pale colors. I really, really enjoyed them. I found them very smooth. And like the white doesn't dry out. You can just keep painting with it. And I like it. But I have another set with like just the base set of the red and the blue. And I think the red, for example, was really tricky to paint with, if I remember correctly. So I see what you mean. Yeah. Here's Martin again. For those of you attending conventions, why not show your style and how you're a member of a wonderful cult with a 52 Miniatures t-shirt or hoodie? And then there's the link to my Patreon. No, Teespring. Yeah. You're doing great, Martin. Thank you. Martin not only removes all the indecencies that might be going on in the chat, he also, as I said before, seems to be head of marketing, which is lovely. Noah says, I've always admired your technical and professional style you bring and center a real artistic dignity that is unique in this space of the hobby. Well, thank you. It's my, in a way, I guess it's my line of work. So I'm just, unfortunately, not really capable of doing it any other way. It would make my life a lot easier, I think, if I just, film all this on my phone instead. But there we are. Okay. Samuel asks, curious, where did the name 52 miniatures come from? It's very, not all that exotic. It was I think the amount of miniatures in the Games Workshop starter box called Soul Wars, which was the first box I got getting back into the hobby. Someone has told me there was 53 miniatures in there, which kind of ruins the whole thing. So let's just agree on the fact that there's 52 of them. I think someone else says that there's also 52 miniatures in chess. No, there's 52 decks in a card. There's lots of 52s. So I'm thinking of maybe starting to change my story so that over time, no one really knows the truth. The end says here, congrats to Black Magic Craft, Jeremy, on the new game. I agree. It's looking very exciting, Jeremy. Probably tons of work as well. But good on you. Stuck cap solution number 2. Heat the cap, dip the cap end in hot boiling water for 1 to 2 minutes. Give the pliers another try. Doesn't the metal expand and the plastic expand when it gets hot? And thus it's even... okay, I'll try. Bill Making Stuff says, hey, would you paint a beadbot if I sent one over? I'd love for one to be painted by someone who can paint. I should be saying, sure thing, Bill. Yeah, of course I would. But, we should talk. We've already talked, Bill, that I should come to your house. I could paint one there instead. I'd rather sort of try and work that out than sit over here in my vault all alone, except for the company of your beadbot, which would be nice, but I'd hopefully prefer your company. I hope. We'll have to talk. Stuck cap solution number 3. A few drops of turpentine into the cap, leave and set for 30 minutes. Okay. So first we're trying hot water, then we're trying, isopropyl? Was it isopropyl? And then we'll try turpentine. Jeremy says ham and pineapple pizza is a Canadian invention, very popular. Yeah, I heard that pineapple originates from somewhere around Vancouver. Yeah. Obviously ham does, but yeah. We've got a stuck cap prevention tip. Clean the threads and apply a little Vaseline. Yeah, that's a better way of starting, is to actually not getting it stuck in the first place. Applying some kind of lubricant was kind of smart. It's just I need to get in the habit of cleaning them. Same goes for oil paints. Like I have a similar. I'm not going to get it out. Like an oil paint that dried probably about 10 years ago. Like that is never going to get opened ever. Verpine says, slog gamer, coffee to drink, things to talk about, bad math. You sound like my kind of gamer. Yeah, it's kind of fascinating that I want to play games that in a way are based on like mathematics, because it kind of is. At least when you play, I've played with some that are very like that play in tournaments and stuff like that, and they have a very statistical mind, I'll choose these troops because obviously with these stats, chances are that 75% of all times I will hit. And they can look at my stats and say, "Oh no, your percentual chance of hitting is only 30% because And I'm like, yeah, but the miniature looks nice." There's difference in gamers. Max Power says pineapple has no place on pizza. I beg to differ. I actually don't really like it either. Banana though, and curry. Now we're talking. Richard Wong says, hello, I find that forcing myself to paint helps me motivated to paint more. I think the thing is just you're not supposed to force yourself for ages. And, using the word force sounds a bit forceful. But just actually starting usually results in the fact that one realizes that one is enjoying the process, but one just needs to start. It's the starting bit that sometimes is very difficult. And so just forcing that first little bit, and then, hopefully the enjoyment will come. Longwind, hello from Florida. Hello, Florida. Calexican Mafia says, chop saw will get that lid off cleanly. Maybe even a skill saw will do the job. Yeah, but then, what do I then close? So I saw it off and I take the paint out, and then what I would, then I need to craft a new lid. Dr. Dave says here, for motivation, I find doing something different helps me, which is true as well. Switching from Games Workshop to Napoleonics to World War II. I agree. I enjoy, when I can, switching from maybe doing different type of miniatures. So it can be sci-fi, or it can be fantasy, or it can be building terrain, or it can be building a diorama. Maybe having different projects going at the same time. That's very individual, I think. I know some people are very focused, and they just, they need to finish one thing at a time. It's a difficulty with the rules. They only work half of the time because people are all different. Okay, where am I? It's really I should talk faster, I think. Trying to catch up on the chat. Always save the cap from the used bottles. Okay. I need to use more paint. Smart. Then I can saw them off and then screw on an old one. Okay. Jaron says, as a guy of the same age and length, don't you ever get neck and back pain? Probably. I probably don't look it, but I do exercise quite a bit, mainly for that reason as well, because because I also work with photography and film, even though that means that sometimes I'm actually out moving about with a camera in my hand, but a lot of the time it's sitting editing either film or photography, and it's always been like that. So I've always been still a lot, and the result of that is that I try and exercise. And I've got to admit that if I don't do that, my back and my neck hurts. If I exercise, no, it doesn't. So exercise. I don't know what I've started here with this tube twisting, But Leif says, regarding opening of the tube, can you hold the actual tube higher up, closer to the cap, as you try and twist it? Maybe. So that, it doesn't actually spin. See, no. See, Leif from Devs and Dice has opened the paint. It's a little twisted, but it's opened. Now I can try and clean it, I guess. There's lots of paint coming out because I twisted it. And I twist it back. Thanks, Leif. Problem solved. Randy says, of course, Alex sets up a live stream that looks like a David Fincher film. Of course. Who else is going to do it? Vladimir. Hello. It says, maybe change the channel name with every new box that comes out. Depending on the amount of miniatures. Yeah. How to confuse people. It's a fun idea. Hans asked me if I'm aware of the 28 mag. I am. I've just never really looked into it. As in, well, I haven't really looked into it or into it. But I am aware of it. Yeah. I should look into it. One Point in Crafting asks, is there a skill, technique, or media that you're interested in getting better at using? Probably all of them. No, but seriously, I think there's something I believe I know would greatly improve my painting, but I'm not actually sure if I want to learn, is to actually learn how to paint. That sounds a bit silly, but I'm meaning as in if I would actually learn how to draw stuff. I can't draw. It's like I try and draw. My son is like, can you draw a car, Dad? And then I draw a car, and he's like, why the cow? I said car. Did you hear me bad? Cow, car. That's sort of the quality of my skill when it comes to drawing. Probably why maybe I enjoy miniature painting, because in a way it's it's like a 3-dimensional coloring book, really. And I don't mean anything bad by that. And so I'm guessing if I would actually learn how to draw or to paint, that would most definitely improve my miniature painting style, I think, because that's something I can see in really exceptional painters, is that they'll paint a depth and a texture and all of that kind of stuff on details that that actually aren't there. It's a flat surface, but it looks like it's curved, kind of a thing. And same goes with all of these, the non-metallic metals and all of that. I mean, any sort of self-respecting oil painter paints a king with a crown. Of course, the crown's going to look like gold, and technically that's non-metallic metal. And because the painter knows how to paint, that's how it turns out. And I think that's what I would benefit the most from. I just don't really know if I want to do it. I don't know why. Greetings, girl painting. Welcome. Tabletop Hub says, oh, heck, a 52 miniature stream. Yeah. It sure is. Welcome. Granberg. I don't know if it's Granberg. It depends on where you're from. Ham and sauerkraut pizza and taco pizza are also a topping combinations in the US Midwest. Sure. You can get a taco pizza here as well. No problem. The sauerkraut, not so much. Okay, I'm so not really catching up with the chat here, but I am trying. I appreciate all of you being here, hanging out with me. It's a lot of fun. Granberg also asked, would you want to try a 6mm, 8mm scale game like War Master or Epic 40K? I don't know. There's so many games I'd like to try, and there's but I haven't been drawn to that as a specific thing. Like, oh, I'd really want to try it because there's these tiny miniatures. I have Martin, at least I know, who's the lovely admin right now and also head of the marketing department, printed out a few things in like that really small scale. We shared on the Discord channel we have for patrons, and I mean it looks conceptually it looks kind of fun. I can see it be, playing an entire sort of having a battlefield with lots of troops, but it's only like this small space in front of you. Conceptually, that sounds like fun, but I haven't given it any sort of serious thought. Dead Dancer says, your basing in diorama game is top notch. Will you ever use your skills to make some terrain? Perhaps film it. Yeah, well, the first thing I want to do is actually finish, like, do videos on the MDF terrain stuff, as I intended to do about a year ago as well. I have some ideas. I don't really know if like I have houses that I thought, it'd be really cool if there was like a glass house with plants in it on top of this house. So you buy like a standard MDF building, and then you try and just make it look cooler by doing lots of stuff, or like building interiors into and exteriors and whatnot. But that's about as far as I need to do that first before getting into doing any other kind of terrain things, I think, because I've got all this MDF lying about and I want to, finish it first. Stygge Ord says, no questions here. I just want to thank you for wholesome motivation and help in bringing a friend to a hobby. I'm glad to hear it. Thank you for letting me know. Nögling says, loving the content. I appreciate that as well. Thank you. See, I can now skip all the stuck cap comments, which is fun because the cap is no longer stuck. Johan Nyland asked me, do you plan to post any battle reports of games you've played? I haven't given it any serious thought. I've considered it, definitely. But I don't think I'd ever be able to do like a proper battle report, like guerrilla wargaming and stuff like that. But it would be fun to do some kind of more, maybe a narrative battle report. I'm not really sure how that would work. Something more cinematic, something with a bit more of a narrative, like actually playing a game and then telling the story of how that game was played. I don't know if dice rolls should be shown or not, or whatever. Some kind of concept I think could be created. Obviously, sounds like I'm making things complicated for myself again. But that's not something I'm going to be doing in the nearest future, but maybe in the not so far future. Who knows? Dead Dancer. Now for the real question. Are you Darren Latham's long lost half brother? I have been asked before. I have yet to ask my mother because as far as I know, no. But I mean, you never know. So I'm going to have to ask my mother. Martin says, a miniature focused workout video. Yeah. I've had silly thoughts on how to shake your paints mixed with a workout video. But sounds maybe it's something more like what Goober Town could be doing with his fanny pack. Frozen Throng says, praise Leif. Yes, I agree. Megan B says, which size brushes are the best for deadlifts? I'm afraid I don't know what a deadlift is. Is that the workout thing again? Are you making fun of me now, Megan? Or is it a serious question? I don't know what a deadlift is, so let me know, please. Lots of congratulations on opening the paint. Yes. Meet the Dynamite says, I recently discovered your channel with the video about the Wood Elf Mage for Miniac. Yes. And seeing you talk about mental issues and how this hobby can really help resonate. Thank you. Well, my pleasure. I think there's I mean, for me at least, there's a lot of that with miniature painting. It's obviously a hobby that would only suit certain type of people. Same as, driving race cars will probably only attract a certain type of people as well. But for me, at least, it's probably quite a major part of staying sane. Brown Fox says, like the bunker setting, right? Vault tech. I need to get some kind of a map up on the wall. But it needs to be a fictional city. I'm not going to have like a map of 1940s Berlin up there. That would just be wrong. But like there should be a map of a fictional place, maybe Ankh-Morpork or something. I missed it. It came and went, which was good because there was something about me wearing spandex. I just hope we don't go there. That's. I was going to say that's taking clickbait a bit too far, but it will probably have the opposite reaction on wanting to click. So I hope we don't get to see that. Cyborg Sloth. The end says, my son's vocabulary sounds much more advanced than his artistic skills. Now, it's my artistic skills that are not very good, and his vocabulary is marvelous. I don't really know where he gets that from. See you later, Bill. It was a very offhanded invitation there. Let me know when you get here. Yeah, but we'll talk. Bye. And Leif will now have to start a how to fix things channel. I agree. Michael O'Connor says, evening, Alex. Hope you're keeping well. Throwing this on in the kitchen while tidying up after the weekend. Anyone have any idea why kids end up with so much clothes to fold? I've stopped folding my kids' clothes. It's not like they stay folded all that long. Just push them in. Hopefully they don't fall out. Banana and curry, burn the witch. Yeah, okay, we're now talking about pizza again. Georgie Kalinkin says, hi there, thank you and all the other hobby creators. Your videos do really help to distract from the current situation. And by the way, have you tried Chimera colors? I'm guessing the current situation that you're referring to is a war, which I'm glad anything can distract from that. And yes, I've tried Chimera colors. I think I did a video on them, painting a monkey. Probably 4 or 5 videos back. You can see if you can find it. I very much enjoy the Chimera colors, mainly because that there's not all that many of them, so it enhanced my need to. Like I decided to only paint with them, so if I wanted to have certain tones and colors, I had to mix paints, which is very fun to learn, I think. They're obviously of a great quality. I probably could be just a lot of the time only using them. But as I said before, with paints, I find I think it's very individual of what you like to use, but it's like certain paints have different qualities. For one instance, I like scale 75 paints a lot, mainly because I find them very easy to wet blend with for some reason. Whereas I thought Chimera paints were maybe a bit more difficult to wet blend with, which is a strange thing, but it's just the mixture of whatever else they put in the paint or the different mediums versus the pigments and stuff like that. The Chimera paints obviously are very vibrant, some of them, which can be a bit shocking at times. But yeah, it's lovely paints. It's not like you're going to go wrong with buying Chimera paints. And I think if you take into consideration how much is actually in each bottle, I think they're probably the same price or cheaper than Games Workshop paints. It's just that you have to buy them all at the same time, and that the bottles are rather large. That makes it feel like they're expensive. Mio says, love the narrative and visual style of your videos. Thank you for sharing your hobby with us. It's always a great treat. I appreciate it. I'm not going to be going, by the way, this is apparently it's already been 2 hours. Can that be right? Which means I'm not going to be going for all that much longer. I think a 2 hour, my brain will melt after about 2 hours and 5 minutes, I think. And we don't want to make that into a public spectacle, do we? So I'm going to scroll down a bit here. There's a lot of comments on people that appreciate the videos, and it's a real treat to get to read them. And I still get a sense and a feeling of that. A lot of us creators, the videos that we do actually help people on, not just with their hobbying, but on other levels, and that's a pretty fantastic thing. So yeah, it's great. Bill knows where the deadlift is. Of course you do. It's a workout thing, Megan. Okay. So me working out was apparently a fun thing. Is it such a distant, yeah. Okay. Hello, TFTF. Welcome. He says there's two types of people, one that have too much paint and the other that have too many paints. I didn't get that one. Neil Blake asks me, awesome lighting setup using aperture lights. These ones are aperture. Oh, this one. There's another one over there that you can't see. I use an aperture lamp as a painting lamp, but that's not actually lit at the moment. I don't know what these tubes are called. There's something else. And then I have a big thingy in the ceiling here that you can't really see, but that one I actually built myself, and it's got like regular light bulbs in it. It's a big circle thing. Dead Dancer asks me if there is any smaller mini painting YouTubers or Instagrammers that you enjoy and not a lot of us may know. I don't know. Probably not. You probably know more than I do. I've got to admit, I haven't had all that much time checking stuff out lately. Not even hardly having time checking out the YouTubers I already know and admire. Far less checking out people that I don't know. I saw something the other day, but I can't remember what. Yeah. Nothing on the top of my head at the moment. It's just kind of cracking on and not really even watching all that much YouTube, to be honest. Brendan Walsh is lurking. I'm glad to hear you're lurking. So I'll read a few more comments here, and then we'll round off within the minute. I'm very appreciative of the fact that you've been hanging out with me. Collection says I'm a fan of the flat golden acrylic paints. Yeah, I've been wanting to try the flat golden acrylic paints. So essentially, it's Golden is a company that makes a lot of paint, like art, like Winsor and Newton. You can usually find them in art stores, and they pretty recently released a paint that's called flat, which means that it's a matte paint. I can't get a hold of them yet in a store. I could order them online, but I prefer to wait. I'd rather buy in stores here in Stockholm than just buy things off the internet. And I'm not really. I've still got enough paint to paint miniatures, just be extra. But I'm waiting for it to sort of turn up in a store here, and I can buy maybe a few pots and try. But it's supposedly nice. Man of Quinn asks, how do you like the storytelling capabilities of the randomness of the D20 in Stargrave? I think that is exactly the way one has to see it, and also maybe the frame of mind that one has to have when playing the game. The storytelling rather than maybe the strategy, because it can be really I've only played the one game, so it's not like I'm an expert. But the little I noticed yesterday was, if you, well, for one thing, it's good to keep your soldiers in cover. But that it can really swing. Like, as I said, my entire squad, captain and all, got wiped out for different reasons. I don't think it would have happened if the dice was maybe 2d10s or something like that. But if one then thinks of that out of a narrative instead, like storytelling, that would be more enjoyable, I think, because it's just weird things happen, and that's kind of fun in stories. Whereas weird things happen when you have a strategy that you want to win a game is not as fun. So I think playing Stargrave is, a thing. When playing Stargrave might be to see it more as a fun game with the narrative and an enjoyment, rather than strategy and winning and losing and all of that. It's a good question. Hello, Apollinaire. Yes, you're late. I'm just about to quit. I'm sorry. There's Mike making stuff as well. Hello, Mike. Good to see you. Nice to say hello to you too. Todd says thanks for everything. Thank you, Todd. Martin says, if you have enjoyed chatting with Alex, members of his Patreon get access to a 52 Miniatures Discord server in which he gets involved regularly. I do. It's true. Martin it's not a lie for marketing purposes. It's actually true. Thanks, Martin. Mikey just got the notification now that I'm on. Yes, sorry, Mikey, because I'm just about to hang up. But great to see you for this little short minute. See you, Leif. Yeah, we'll meet up soon. Okay. In about 1 minute, my brain will melt because of trying to be nice and pleasant for 2 hours has its drawbacks. I want to thank you all for joining in. It's marvelous. Hopefully, we get to stream more often so that I actually get to do something as well. I thought I was going to build at least 3 of these small habitats and just chat a little bit. But no, it's been fantastic. Thank you very much for joining in, and I hope you all have a continued lovely Sunday. And I'll see you all soon. Bye.